Let's start off talking about sort of how you got involved in Santa Bootcamp. I was surprised to see it's one of your first Christmas movies. I don't think you've really made one before. Why did you decide to make this one your first one?
I decided to make this one my first one because I've never been asked before.
Mm.
How's that for plain speaking? And I loved it. I'm so glad. I had such a good time. I love the costumes. I mean, the people are just going to love the costumes. They're going to be gorgeous and beautifully designed. And the story is very Christmassy, as it should be. And John Shuck plays my husband,
Hmm.
and he plays a Santa type character. I mean, I don't want to give things away, so I want to be careful about how I say this. Um, I just had a terrific time. If you can ask me specific questions, I can be more specific.
Sure, absolutely. Well, tell me about you're sort of playing the drill sergeant basically of this boot camp. Do you tend to be a drill sergeant in your own life around holiday time? Are you someone who like really takes charge that way and directs the way people go?
Well, I'm the kind of person who, at Christmas time, particularly Christmas time, I'm like a child.
Hmm.
Decorate everything. I mean, this happens at Easter too, but really at Christmas time, I go bananas. And if you stand still long enough, you get decorated. I mean, it's like that. I decorate everything. I love Christmas. I am truly like a child. I've always had a huge tree with tons of, and I mean, it's jammed. The tree is jammed with ornaments that
Mm.
I have collected over the years. And they're all pretty spectacular. Some are dancers. I actually have some figures from Cirque du Soleil when they put them out. I don't know if they still do that, but they're very original looking. So I am a real Christmas person in every respect.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Now,
It,
given that COVID is around, no, I no longer have the little thing that you put up in the ceiling and you stand under it.
oh, mistletoe.
Yeah,
Right.
that doesn't happen anymore, unfortunately. But other than that, everything is Christmas. I love it, and I love doing the movie. It's
Right.
what's wonderful about the movie is that it's many things you wish for in terms of entertainment.
Hmm.
It's sweet, it's charming, it's funny, it's very, very Christmassy. The costumes are really pretty gorgeous.
Hmm.
And there's nothing about it that that rang untrue, even though it's a Lifetime Christmas movie after all.
Right.
And, things turn out pretty well, usually on these kind of films, as they should. I think it's important to impart that kind of positive aura at Christmas time, particularly in these very serious and scary times. It's really important, and I think it's one of the reasons too that people are. I can't tell you how many people go, oh, "You're in a Lifetime Christmas movie." Really, a lot of people just love these Lifetime movies, and I can see why.
Right. Absolutely.
And,
What?
again, you also get to see fabulous costumes,
Yeah.
and it's very ultra, ultra Christmassy, as it should be. And Melissa did a great job on it as a director.
Well, and speaking of Melissa Joan Hart, she's directed a few of these. What was the best piece of direction she gave to you? This being your first holiday movie, your first Christmas movie. What's the best? What's the
Next
best
piece of
direction she
direction she gave me was go.
gave
Well, I like to improvise.
you?
I
Hmm.
like to make up stuff on the spur of the moment, and she was delighted with that. I tried to stay in character, obviously,
Hmm.
but she was just very encouraging. She says, I love what you do when you make stuff up. So, if you want to add some words, it's okay with me. And if it's not okay, I'll let you know. But that never happened. And I really we developed a wonderful relationship together. She's just a doll of a woman. I like her very much. I'm very fond of her. And John Shuck, I mean, if anybody looks like Santa, he really does. And I'm not going to tell you if he's really Santa or not, because then that would give away.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Got to keep that under the Santa hat, as it were.
right.
Well, can you give me an example of a scene you improvised? So something that made it into the movie
It wasn't a scene I improvised, it's that I improvised on the dialogue.
Mm, okay.
Just scenes where I put my own kind of words into things.
Right.
I took some dialogue and put it into Rita speak. So it's kind of hard to demonstrate that.
Got it. Makes sense. You play a scene with a reindeer in the film. What was it like having that creature on set? Was
Well,
it fun to act
he was wonderful. The first thing he did was pee. That's the first thing he did. They brought the reindeer on, and some of us had never seen a reindeer, especially close up. And this is one of the reindeer, for real reindeers. And we just kind of were all staring at him, and he went, and there was a river of reindeer pee-pee on the floor. That was my experience. And he didn't exactly smell great either. I mean, these guys don't take baths, you know.
Right.
So they are what they are. And he's everything you would expect a reindeer to be. Big and a bit scary, because they make a big sound and like, no, that's more like a monster from a movie. But you know what I mean.
Right.
It was fun.
I'm sure. Would you say it's harder acting opposite animals or Muppets? Which are the two?
No, it's not hard to act opposite Muppets. It's fun. I love that. I mean, they want to steal the scene. That's okay by me. They're so fabulous. No, reindeer are unpredictable. Animals like that are unpredictable. So you kind of keep your distance. And I have to say, some of the actors were wonderful with that. I was kind of like, and trying not to look that way, because after all, I'm the dictator of Santa Bootcamp. I'm supposed to know all this stuff. But I had a lot of fun. There's a beginning scene in this movie that is just magical, where everything suddenly appears. I'm in the center of this scene, and suddenly all kinds of decorations and things appear, seemingly out of nowhere. And I was fascinated to see how that was shot, because there were people literally running in and out of the scene who would not be seen eventually, and placing stuff. And it was, Christmas ornaments and Christmas this and Christmas that. And it's a wonderful scene where my character says, "Let there be Christmas." And all of these things start appearing in the back of me and on the sides of me. And it's done by movie magic. And I love movie magic.
Absolutely. Did that help? I mean, I know you filmed these movies a long time before Christmas happens usually. So did that help get in the Christmas spirit, knowing you were filming months ahead of time?
Absolutely. For one thing, the much of the set was the home of the Christmas people. So they found this extraordinary mansion, which is very famous we're in Tennessee, by the way.
Right.
And there were scenes. Oh, this is wonderful. There were scenes where they had tons of tea frog. They're not called, what are they called? Tree frogs. Or some must call them cicadas. And when they decide to just talk, they do it all at once. So it's a big sound. And it's funny because Melissa was so casual about that. It happens all the time. And I said, "Melissa, what are you going to do about this sound? Are we going to loop our voices in later in the scene?" She said, "Yeah, don't worry about it." And that's what we did. But it's so funny that our leading lady, every time she started to do a scene, the cicadas would start.
Oh, no, right.
I mean, you really have to talk louder, because they are loud. There are probably hundreds and hundreds of them in the trees. And cicadas don't belong at Christmas. They just don't. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that.
Right, absolutely. One of the interesting things about Santa Bootcamp is there's a representation for deaf people in the film. I think it's one of the first Christmas movies to do that. Was it nice? Is it nice to see holiday movies diversifying that way, being able to see different kinds of people in these films?
Absolutely, it was wonderful. And I had to learn a little bit of sign language, which is not so easy, especially if you have arthritis. I mean, who would think, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm going to have problem with this one because I can't straighten out my pinky." But that was fun. And it's wonderful that they thought of that. And, it'll get better and better that way with respect to casting people who usually weren't even thought of in the old days being last year.
how did the film stir your own memories of as a child of growing up with Christmas in your life? What was it like in your childhood having Christmas?
Well, I remember Christmas in Puerto Rico, which was pretty
Mm,
spectacular. Um, we did all kinds of wonderful things. We take it very, very seriously,
mm,
and in a religious way and in a festive way. And one of the things you do are things called parrandas.
mm,
And parrandas are people getting together with instruments, some real, some not. I mean, some of them are cookie cans that you can beat on. And then you go to somebody's house at 1 in the morning and sing and make a lot of noise. And the rule is that they have to open the door and invite you in for coco. And
mm.
coco is a wonderful coconut rum drink, but you have to open the door. And it's we love it on the outside. I don't know how the people inside feel, but I can hear them saying, "Oh God, they're here. All right. Hi, Merry Christmas to you too." But I loved that. And we always, the food was divine. It
Mm,
was Puerto Rican Caribbean food, which was heavenly. Big, big part of Christmas. I think big part of Christmas, so like Thanksgiving, is the food too. And you just the table is laden, and it makes you think of love and harmony,
mm.
truly. Affection and familial love, all of that good stuff that we are in desperate need of right now. So
Absolutely.
I'm more than looking forward to Christmas this year, particularly this year. It's very important.
Right. Would you have Santa Claus in your Puerto Rican household, or was that more when you came to New York? Is that when Santa
We
Claus more
had in
Christmas?
Puerto Rico, you have the three kings.
Okay.
You don't have Santa Claus. You
Interesting.
have los Reyes Magos, the Magi.
Mhm.
And that's how we used to celebrate. And sometimes people would come in costumes dressed as kings, it's just beautiful. It's very beautiful. And you still see that in all of these creches that you see in the cities.
Right.
You see the three kings. You don't see a Santa Claus. And it's lovely. And the costumes are gorgeous. And we do parades and we do all kinds of things in Puerto Rico, which are just very, very, very festive.
When you did come to know Santa, did you grow to enjoy Santa as well?
Of
When you
course. Oh, how
okay.
could you not? He's the guy who brings the presents in this country, right?
Right.
We love Santa. And I remember sitting on Santa's lap.
Hmm.
And I remember I had an accent then because I was still just learning English.
Hmm.
So what do you want? I want these little doll with a lot of curly hairs. It's very sweet memories.
Right. That's wonderful. You eventually married into a Jewish family. Would you celebrate both Christmas and Hanukkah when the holidays rolled around? How did you do both?
Absolutely, absolutely. But the funny part of it all was that when my husband, who was a doctor,
Mhm.
my husband to be, let them know that he was going to marry this Hispanic woman. I mean, the "Ay, qué mal, ay, 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 ay," davening, and the Hispanic side of the family said, "Ay, Dios mío, ahora judío." I mean, the Bronx was filled with eyes and oys. And what was really wonderful about it is that the very first Christmas after we were married, um, his family came over. I was thrilled because I haven't had family for years and years and years.
Mhm.
My mom came to this country, and when she came to this country, there were very few family members. And the few that remained were still in Puerto Rico. So that having a new family, I was thrilled to pieces. I really
Mhm.
was. And I loved them all, and they were sweet and they were different. And I remember that Tanta Shashi, Tanta means aunt in Yiddish, said, looked at, and I've made a lot of Yiddish food and stuff, Jewish food, which was, part of the fun of being with them and having them over to our apartment in New York. And all I can remember is that, because I said, look, I made this and I made that, which is Jewish food. And she says, well, no toiki. You can't win for losing sometimes.
Right.
But, some nice, sweet Manischewitz wine. I got them dancing. and I got them dancing. I got some Jewish music, which is wonderful.
Mhm.
Very, very jolly and energetic. Tum, ta, tum, ta, 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 tum, ta, tum. And they all got slightly drunk, which they were, they didn't even know how to be drunk. These people didn't drink. So they were, just jolly and happy and dancing.
Right. That's wonderful.
It was marvelous.
That's great. Do you think we need more Hanukkah movies? We have a lot of Christmas movies. Should there be more Hanukkah movies on Lifetime?
I think it would be fabulous. I don't understand that. I wonder why. What a great idea. Oh, I'm going to talk to Lifetime about that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I feel like you should do it. You could do both worlds.
Yes, we can do one about, two different families from two different places.
Right.
Thank you. I'm gonna immediately, I swear, the moment I get off this interview, it's something I'm going to address. And
I love it.
oh yeah, and the Hispanic thing with oi oi ay ay.
Right. Give me just this polygon of cultures. Yeah, right, right.
Great idea. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I always remember you playing Fran Drescher's Jewish grandmother on that show she did, and you were so great at it. And again, you wouldn't think that, but you're playing this amazing Jewish grandmother. It was fantastic.
I was very, very New York, and I spoke like that. Right. And I remember Fran saying to me once, with her nasal tones, like, "How did you learn to talk that way?" I said, "Well, you help." And I said, "My husband was one of you people." So he had a family that talked like that. That's really New York Jewish.
Right.
And I love doing that. I love doing accents. That's the most fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We know, I don't know how much you can say about it, but we know you were in the latest Fast and the Furious movie playing Vin Diesel's grandmother. What was that experience like?
Oh, that was fantastic. It was amazing. Well, I went all the way to London, England for that because that's where they shoot those movies. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
I had no idea. Wow.
And I had two scenes, and they took place in ostensibly in her little backyard in LA. So, and what was touching about that? That was so lovely. It was supposed to be a dinner with all of his people. Right. And they all come to my place, to Abuelita's house, for this wonderful dinner. And there was an empty chair. And I said, "Who's supposed to sit in this one?" They said, "Paul."
Right.
Paul Walker. I thought, wow, that was really so touching. He really loved him. They had apparently a wonderful relationship. Right. It was just lovely. I love being with Vin, and he's a fan, which who would guess, right? Who would guess? Vin Diesel is my fan. He thinks I'm swell. And I think the same. He's a real family man, by the way. Very serious family man with a gorgeous wife and children.
That's great. I feel like that in addition to the Hanukkah movie, we can have like a Fast and the Furious Christmas movie or another holiday movie. And that could be another thing you can binge.
And also I'll be taking part in a beautiful new version of Beauty and the Beast. Disney, which is coming up very soon. I think it comes up, it will actually be dropped very close to Christmas or late November. I'm not sure. I haven't asked. But that's going to be extraordinary, and that's a Christmas special,
right?
Yeah. So it's a Rita Moreno festival here.
It really is. You're making up for lost time. You're like, yeah, we haven't done it now. Let's do it. Let's get it in. Let's do all of it.
It's wonderful. I love the attention, and it's wonderful at the age of 90 to be getting this kind of attention. That's super. This wouldn't have happened many years ago. You know that. The people my age would have been just kind of forgotten and cast aside. But it's fabulous to be asked to perform in different things. And I want to say grateful, but I why should I be grateful? If they think I have talent, then it just means they're smart.
Right. Absolutely.
My daughter just probably went, "Oh God, mother."
Well, I grew up in a house with both the Electric Company and a lot of Muppets, so you were a big part of my childhood, and so it's a real pleasure to chat with you now about all this.
And I just found out recently that the Electric Company is still on. It's still on. Did you know it's on Apple?
Yeah, no, I heard they got the rights to it. Yeah.
Well,
Haven't been
I
back to
just
visit
tuned in recently because I just heard, and of course I tuned in my stuff, and I was thrilled to pieces. It's marvelous.
Yeah,
And
it's
it
so
taught,
great to watch.
and you know what's interesting about that? It not only taught young people to read, very young people, but
Mhm.
it also taught my husband's Tante Shashi to read.
Wow.
His auntie.
Yeah.
One day she called me up and she says, Rita, darling, she says, I was at the market and I was reading a can of peas. And what she was saying was that she could read the words on this can of peas that she bought. Isn't that marvelous? I mean, so
Amazing. I
it
love
not only taught children, it taught a lot of people
it. Yeah.
who, and it was so entertaining. I mean, it was hilarious. And, Morgan Freeman was in it. There was some fabulous people in it.
Oh yeah, no, it's a big part of my childhood viewing for sure. So thank you for teaching me
It
how to
was
read as
funny.
well.
Morgan played Dracula all the time.
Right,
I
right.
played the little girl, the brat, who wasn't scared of him and would take out her little doggy and hit him on the head and drive him out of my room. I love that. I love
Oh,
childish
wonderful.
things. I do.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, it's been such a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for taking the time. And again, best congrats on Santa Bootcamp and best of luck this holiday. Enjoy your holidays, please.
I will. Thank you so much.
Great.
Christmas, good Yom Tiv, the works.
It works. I love it. All right. Take care now.
Bye bye.